Well, we may have just seen, and this is saying something, Dave, the worst Detroit Lions performance that I can remember.
In my opinion, that sucked.
Dude, we've got 0-16 seasons, 2-14 seasons. We've got all sorts of stuff to grab here out of the grab bag. Week 16, the Bucs beat the Lions 47-7. This thing was 40-0 after one play in the third quarter.
That escalated quickly.
Now, I don't know if you caught the pregame show on NFL Network. Colleen Wolfe, Michael Irvin, Steve Smith. As always, they do their predictions at the end. Every single one of them picked Tampa, but every one of them called this game to be like 34-28, 35-27, all within 10 points, some within like 6.
What?
Have you watched this team? Do you know that they have 8 starters out? Do you know that none of their coaches are coaching today? Like, do you know Tom Brady and them are on the other side? I could not believe when I heard that. And that instantly made me think of another pregame show from a year ago that happened to feature a guy who was playing today. Rob Gronkowski. I can't say it. I'll just say Gronk. How about that?
There we go.
I'm speaking as well as the Lions play.
I don't.
Gronk was on that show last year, and he talked about when he was supposed to get traded to the Lions. Now, we know he ended up retiring. Well, he wasn't retired at this point, but he said he was going to. Listen to this, and this just kind of tells you where the Lions are as a franchise. This is Gronk a year ago.
I did have a career-altering trade, almost a career-altering trade, and it was about 2 years ago. I was actually traded to the Detroit Lions, and I called up, and I got the phone call, and I was contemplating if I should retire or not about 2 years ago, and I was like, you just traded me to the Lions. I go, oh, I'm retired. Like, I don't know how that trade can go through. And then 2 days later, the trade never went through.
Can you believe that?
Yeah,
They're going to trade
you? Yeah, I got traded. I told that story before last year.
I never heard that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, no, I'm retired. How can you trade me? And I stayed on the Patriots.
Yeah, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. The guy would have rather retired at like 28 years old or whatever he was at that point than play for the Lions. Dave, your thoughts on this game? There is not much to say, and we haven't even mentioned Matthew Stafford hurt yet again.
That was a disgraceful performance.
I'll sum the game up like this.
Yeah.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
I think everybody on that pregame show should lose their jobs, first of all.
What on earth?
I mean, talk about – I wouldn't even say not doing your homework. You don't need to do your homework. I mean, this is exactly what was expected to happen for, anybody that has a clue.
But I think it was even worse. Like, I didn't think it'd be good. Don't get me wrong. But, dude, this would look like a team that had not played in years. Like, they just pulled some dudes from the gas station.
Well, I mean, they're basically won to that point, and then, on top of it, you throw not having any of the coaches around, too, and it's just like, I mean, let's go back to the strike days when they're throwing scabs out there. Like,
yeah, right.
It almost is that situation at this point, and the only silver lining was having Stafford, Swift, Marvin Jones, and Hockenson. Well, Stafford comes out right away, and then you lose that. And you're not going anywhere with your $13 million backup quarterback. And
I puke in my mouth a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Just
I did it, didn't I?
Yeah, Bob Quinn. I don't think people remember that because you don't normally see Chase Daniel.
Right.
That may have been his last parting gift. 3 years, Chase Daniel, $13 million. Thank you.
You should want a quarterback as a backup that's good enough to be a starter, because that's what they're there for in case your starter goes down, especially these teams that are close. I mean, if you're a team where Mahomes goes out, or I don't want to say Lamar Jackson, but like Mahomes, Brady, Ben, those kind of guys, they have good teams where if they have a decent quarterback, they can come in and continue to, possibly win. Maybe not at that rate, but
Blaine Gabbert looked like Joe Montana when he came in today.
Oh, I was waiting to get on that. Yeah, it's so funny that, I mean, you could have, bring up fantasy football. You could have started Blaine Gabbert today and had more points than possibly any quarterback that plays today. I mean, he put up 2 touchdowns and 170 yards in the second half, and then that Brady guy played okay too.
Dude, the guys were open by 5 yards on every play. I mean, God bless these guys, man, but they're not NFL players. I mean, they're not. They shouldn't be in the league. And that very first pass, Gronk, dude, he was so open. Once again, where the heck is Jared Davis, Jelani Tavai? You just cut and paste their names every week. Gronk is over there. Just one time, Mike Evans is down on his knees and he gets a pass thrown to him.
And got up and ran.
I mean, these guys are not NFL players. And that, once again, goes back to your general manager.
Look at you, giant idiot.
Who signed your backup quarterback for $13 million in 3 years.
The last thing I'll say about as bad as this game was, like, the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking, it's Christmas time. Everybody's getting their new Xboxes and PlayStations, and they're going to be playing Madden. And this seriously looked like somebody playing as Tampa Bay and playing on, like, the easiest setting ever. And it was against the line. And it was real life. I mean, seriously, it's like playing against the worst team on the easiest setting.
It's amazing that this team won 5 games. I mean,
absolutely amazing. It's incredible.
Again, and the injuries and everything play a huge factor in that. They have no D-line anymore. They just got Everson Griffin, and he's like the only dude out there in Aquara. But, dude, to me, this game was like every single SOL thing, every single same old Lions thing that has ever been said or happened, all wrapped up into one. All of them. I mean, you have 5 coaches, including your interim head coach, not even your real head coach, your interim head coach, all wiped out because of COVID. They asked to have the game pushed back, and the NFL says, you're the Lions. No, we're not doing that. We're not moving the game. And it's because it was the only game on the time slot. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It was a money thing. If this was a Sunday 1:00 game, the game would have been moved because they would have had another game to put in that time slot. They don't here, so they said, sorry, Lions, you're going to get murdered anyway. Screw you. You're playing your game. So they don't have 5 coaches.
Well, it's like Denver. I mean, they didn't have a quarterback, and they didn't let them move the game.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I get it, like, to be bothered by that, but I don't think there's an argument there.
I'm not bothered by it. I'm telling you, it's SOL.
I
couldn't give a rip.
No, I know.
But
no, same.
There,
No, I
there
just
probably
meant, like,
are.
fans.
There probably are.
I'm sure there's people bet about it.
But there's that. The Bucs have been starting incredibly slow. They're outscored 59-7 in the first quarter of their last 6 games. Nope, not today. Not today. 13-0. Then they go up 40-0 overall.
Break his back, make him humble.
The Lions fired their special teams coordinator this week because apparently last week he calls a fake punt after the head coach told him not to call a fake punt, so he was fired. This is a guy who is a rising, up-and-coming coach.
Mm-hmm.
All the players took to Twitter and couldn't believe it and were pissed, and your punter makes the Pro Bowl, and he tweets out something about, it's all thanks to him. It's all thanks to him. He's the greatest. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, they fire him. And then Jamal Agnew today ends up looking like Jamal Agnew from his rookie year when he was a first-team All-Pro, returns a 70-some-odd-yard punt return for a touchdown. The only score that the Lions got in this game, they are now down 40-7, and they get a taunting penalty.
Bogus!
Down 40-7. SOL. Matthew Stafford is already playing with a torn ligament in his thumb. He is playing with whatever is wrong with his ribs, torn cartilage, whatever. First play of the game, comes up holding his ribs. Third play of the game, he's about to get blasted. The rusher pulls up and kind of love taps him. Stafford's backpedaling and possibly breaks his ankle backpedaling.
Bogus!
Does not get clobbered. The most innocent play in the world.
Bogus!
And your quarterback gets hurt.
Bogus!
SOL. Tampa Bay is another team that blows historically.
You stink.
They were the first team and only team ever that had never won a game until the Lions went and did it in 2008. They have not made the playoffs since 2007. They set every record in the history of their franchise today on you. Most of which all came in the first freaking quarter. SOL. Tom Brady, the GOAT, has had a perfect passer rating of 158.3 twice times in his career. Once time against the Lions on Thanksgiving in 2010. He had a perfect passer rating again today for the third time in his career, two of which. So the Lions have literally goated Tom Brady. They are the reason. Two of his three perfect passer ratings have come against them, and he didn't even play in the second half.
Are you my daddy?
We mentioned Blaine Gabbert comes in, immediately looks like Tom Brady. And then the last thing, these clowns didn't even pass the 50-yard line until 14:07 of the fourth quarter. And the only reason why they passed the 50-yard line was because of a BS roughing the passer call that pushed them over the... And then they still didn't get any points out of that drive. It literally was SO. Every single thing about this game was SOL. You could write an SOL book on this game alone. It was unbelievable, man. And then look at who was coaching, man. I mean, Darrell Bevell is not going to be a head coach in this league, and he's serving as the interim. So then what happens when, the dude who's never going to be a head coach, and God bless him, he's done a great job keeping these guys, heads in it and everything. He's done great at that, but he's not going to be a head coach. And then you lose 5 coaches, you lose your D coordinator, you got guys calling plays who are like the quarterback coach and guys who are never going to even be coordinators in this league are calling plays for you today.
That doesn't make sense.
And some of these fools thought it'd be a 6-point game? What?
Once it gets to that point, I almost think that, Stafford, I wonder if he would have played the whole game, if he would have called the plays.
If Stafford would have?
Yeah, who else is going to know better than, once you lose this coach, this. The quarterback, he's in there and sees everything. So instead of having Joe Schmo coach, just let the quarterback call the plays.
Unbelievable, man. It was just unbelievable. Receivers coach, Rob Rintz, was your head coach today. And he got up to the podium after the game and it was just like, we got murdered. We did everything we could, and we just got trounced. Evan
I'll be honest.
Rothstein calling the defensive plays. I mean, nobody's ever even heard of these people. You know, it's outside of Detroit and outside of people that really, really pay attention to their coaching staff. And people don't know who these guys are.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
Oh, and I'll be honest. Bad on me. I didn't bother to watch anything of the post game or look up anything because what are they going to say?
No,
Other than
what
like
can you
you
say?
said it. Yeah, we got murdered. We're doing jobs that we aren't supposed to have. We're not even remotely groomed for.
Right.
I mean, we're way out of our league, literally. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing that you're going to get that's going to be like, oh, that's a good soundbite. Let me use that for something. Or, oh, that's very good insight. That sounds great. No,
they'd be. I'd think less of them if they didn't come out and say, "We got whooped."
Right.
I mean, what do you say? What do you say? This was the third worst first half of Lions football in history, in franchise history. 34-0 at the half. Twice times before they have been down 35-0. That was to the Super Bowl champ Redskins in '91. Who then whooped them again in the NFC title game. And then 63 against the Bears. Those were both 35-0. This would have been 35-0. But the only thing the Bucs did wrong today was miss kicks. So
Boink.
they missed 3 kicks today. So it really was the worst beating they have ever taken in a single half of football. 410 yards at the half. Shockingly, that is the high for the NFL this year. And Brady, they made Brady, who has not been able to throw the long ball this season. Dude, they made him look like 04 Brady today. Dude was zinging it all over the field.
See, dang it. That's what the Steelers need to play the Lions. Get Ben going on the deep ball.
Yeah, maybe they can hold a scrimmage or something this week. Maybe
there you go.
Because it sure worked for Brady and them today. Do you have anything else on this game? I mean, dude, you know, the Stafford thing, who knows? Who cares? I mean, first of all, who cares? The season's over, but you know, it's
right,
just
but
another injury, and it's another thing that he's gonna sit here and be like, just get me out of here.
Right.
Even though it was innocent, it was nobody's fault. It's not like he got blindsided and injured. It was a freak thing. But, man, I could just see this guy going, there's bad juju here for me. Get me out of here.
Right. And I was talking to somebody about it during the week in regards to Stafford leaving and stuff like that. And I could see him really fighting to stay here. I mean, he seems like that type of dude. He really seems like he likes to be here and his family likes to be here. I could totally see him be like, no, I don't want to leave, especially the things that we heard as to why he played last week. You know, so that really, really made me take some time to think about that he might, you know. But this is kind of a cheesy thing, but the Lions missed an opportunity with the coaching staff being out. They could have stole something from I think it was the Pro Bowl a couple of years ago where they were letting fans call the plays. Through Twitter. Yeah, the Lions could have done. I mean, they might as well. I mean, as big of a joke as they are, and as this is, I mean, do something new.
Any worse? Could it have been any worse? I don't know that it would have been.
Do something new, you know. But no, and in all seriousness, of course they wouldn't do that. I mean, they are a professional football team.
Are they?
Ish.
Yeah, ish.
I mean, they're in the NFL, but no, there isn't much to say. I was super bummed when Stafford went out because last week, like I said, he makes watching the Lions fun. I mean, that's really he's the main interest that I have in watching them play. I've always liked watching the guy. I've always respected him. And you and I have talked all season long about how much we think of him. You know, then he comes out and then we get to watch Chase Daniels, and it's like, you know, it basically turns into watching San Francisco.
Dude.
Who's on their third string quarterback and is 3 of 6 for 60 yards and a touchdown against Arizona. Like, really?
Well, we watched this game last year. We watched this because we had to watch David Blau last year when they were on their third string quarterback. I mean, that's all they had left.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like San Francisco they've gone through 3 quarterbacks this year, and they've all had their moments and all played decent. But meanwhile, Detroit can't find a backup to save their life, and now you think that they're going to get rid of Stafford and they're going to find a starter. And after not having a starter for how long until Stafford got here?
Got Chase Daniel for 2 more years.
There you go. Yeah, he's going to be your starter next year. Watch.
So this is how bad this Lions team is. We all know, and I already mentioned 08, first team ever to go 0-16 in a season. We know how bad that was. The Lions came into today's game, 2 games remaining, 850 yards away from setting their own franchise record for most yards allowed during any season. And they've won 5 games, mind you. So they enter 850 away. They gave up 410 at halftime.
It sucked. It stunk.
588 total yards in the game. So they are now under 300 next week, and they will set a new franchise record for yards allowed in a season. Just let that sink in.
I almost soiled myself.
Let that sink in. But Matthew Stafford is the problem. So anyway, Dave, that is that. We have one more game to deal with this season before we are done.
I love the way you worded that, especially I don't think Stafford's going to play in that game. So
why would he? What's the point?
Right.
Like, what's the point of playing him? And if
Alvin Cook could run for 200 yards and Kirk Cousins is going to look like Joe Montana.
Right. And I mean, I'm not like a big tank guy, but at this point, because dudes are trying to put tape out there for next season. There are a few guys that might make some money in this league still, and they're trying to put tape out there, and you don't want to ruin things for them. But one way you can do it, if your quarterback's banged up, you just don't play him. Right. So that's absolutely I would not play him next week. So there's that. One more torturous week to go. This team now 5-10 somehow. I
just went back and looked at the wins, and it's weird to think that they beat some of these teams. I mean, the Cardinals have kind of fallen off, but they're
a better team than the Lions.
Team. Right. I mean, Jacksonville, I get that. How they beat the Falcons, I mean, because the Falcons are one of the weirdest teams in the NFL because they have so much talent on offense and the defense is so bad, but
right,
they can beat anybody and lose to anybody. Like they lost to Detroit. And then Detroit barely beat Washington. So who's, they're
going to make the playoffs at the rate they're at right now.
Right. Even though we have no idea who the quarterback is going to be.
Right. Yeah.
But that just goes to show you, though.
I'll tell you who the captain isn't going to be. So there's that. Vikings next week, 1:00 on Fox. Last time you will have to watch this team for quite a while. That is our probably too long of a conversation on maybe the worst game ever. We will move on to our Lions game of the week. It's Lions game day. And today we decided, being that it's the day after Christmas and everything, we would give our gifts to NFL players. I'm going to give all mine to the Lions because, they need all the charity they can get. So I'm going to give mine to Lions players, but we are going to gift some NFL players some goodies here because it's that time of the year. So Santa Dave, what do you have, and who are you giving? Who are you giving anything here to?
All right, so I've got some guys on my list that have been nice. It's just their performance has been a little bit naughty for the year. Today we got to watch 43-year-old Tom Brady throw for 1 billion yards and 1 billion touchdowns in one half of football. So with that being said, there's some guys that we've talked about previously that may be calling it quits after the end of the year. Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers.
Hello, Granny.
And to them, Santa Dave is going to give them their very own copy of the TB12 method, so they can find the fountain of youth and become what Tom Brady has become at age 43.
Eat a lot of kale.
It's incredible what that guy can do. There's been times during the season where people are like, oh, he's washed up or whatever, and then he comes back. I mean, albeit this was against the Lions, but he's had games like this before. I mean, he threw for 400 yards last week. So, and there's real concerns with these three guys, and especially Breeze and Ben the last few weeks. So they could use a little something if they want to continue playing.
I thought you were going to gift those teams Matthew Stafford is what I thought you were going to gift them.
Oh, that would have been great.
This is why I'm here. No, that's what I thought you were going to. As soon as I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. They're getting Stafford, but you can't give them all three Stafford, so you would have had to pick one. I wonder which one you would have chosen. Along those lines, speaking of Matthew Stafford, I'm just keeping this short and sweet. I'm giving him traction. That's what I'm giving him. And I'm not talking about like tire control. I'm talking about freaking arms and legs in a hospital bed. Traction. That's what I am giving him because that's what he freaking needs. Holy crap. What is going on with this guy? His arms busted. His ankles busted. His back has been busted. His ribs are broken. Bro, just go and whatever the things they put your arms and legs in, go get those, man. That's what you get. Traction for Matthew Stafford.
Well, that's super nice of you, and I appreciate that because I'm actually going to give something to Stafford as well. I am going to give him for Christmas this year his very own Aflac policy.
Right.
Let him get a couple extra dollars for his injuries that he's had. I mean, he's probably would have got a pretty big sum with his thumb, his ribs, his ankle.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. He could use that to buy more presents for his kids.
I think they're doing okay. They're doing fine. That would definitely help. So I got a couple more Lions here. Just Jeff Okudah, Cole. You just get Cole, man. I don't even. I'm not even trying to be creative. This is what you get. Cole, we're done here. Cole.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's what you aren't even worth being creative right now. Cole.
All right. So this one, again, tied to Tom Brady today. We're going to go to Brady's old team and his old coach, Bill Belichick. He's going to get something from Santa Dave.
Santa Dave.
I'm going to go ahead and gift to him a DeLorean time machine.
Really?
So he can go back in time and fix possibly the biggest mistake that he ever made in his career by letting Tom Brady go.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
And he tried to do it a couple of years before that even.
Now, the thing is, I'm going to give him this gift. I don't necessarily know if he's going to appreciate it or even use it the way it's intended.
I have no idea what Chinooka is.
I can see him being so stubborn that he gets to go back and still gets rid of Brady. But this time, I don't think he gets Cam Newton, and I think he goes ahead and lets Stidham start for the year and see what he's got in him. In retrospect, I really think that's a big regret that the Patriots organization has, because having Newton really didn't do anything for them, unless their goal is to not make the playoffs and to see horrible quarterback play. I did not understand the signing when it happened. I didn't understand going with Stidham to see what you had. None of it made sense. So
Well, can I ask you this? Then how come Stidham didn't play?
Right.
During the year.
That's and that's the thing is,
because you got Cam for a 1-year deal. If he's not happy, beat it.
Right. That's something. The big old Lenny's a Patriots fan, and he said that too. He's like, I'd love to see that kid play, but there's got to be something, about him that he's not on the field for. He has to be showing something or doing something. So I don't know.
Lions running backs, Adrian Peterson, Kerryon Johnson, Cole. You get Cole. That's what you get. You don't deserve anything. You don't deserve me to think about anything greater than that. Cole. That's what you get.
Sensing a theme with you. I'm going to go ahead and give something to the Lions fans. I'm going to give them the gift of hope.
Hilarious.
Because next week is week 17. The season's going to be over. They get to look forward to the draft.
That's when
hiring
the season
a new coach.
begins. That's when the season begins. Draft season is our Super Bowl.
Yep. Hiring a new coach, getting a new GM. And then the hope gets to start all over again, just like it did 3 or 4 years ago, the 3 or 4 years before that, and the 3 or 4 years before that.
Every year. Every year.
Lions fans, that's the gift that keeps on giving, and that's one that you guys are actually going to get from me. So there you have it.
Are you familiar with the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Excellent question.
So there was a character. Yeah, there's a character on that show. His name was Jazz. And Will's Uncle Phil was not a fan of Jazz. He not at all. And normally, Jazz would end up getting launched out of Uncle Phil's house. So I am giving the Jazz treatment to Jared Davis. Thrown out of here. Beat it. Jared Davis, and you can probably take like half of your boys with you. But just another horrible Bob Quinn draft pick. First rounder, 20th overall. The guy can't play. The guy cannot play. He reminds me of a Boss Bailey, of a Ernie Sims. He's got all this speed. He goes 1,000 miles an hour, and he doesn't know where the frick he's going. Yeah, you get the Jazz treatment, pal, and you can probably say that for the entire defense. Thrown right out the front door. See ya.
Are they all going to get the Jazz shirt too?
They can have the parting gift, yeah. No, actually, with the first round money he got paid, he can buy it for himself.
Straight cash, homie.
That's true. He
can buy the Rock's $500 shirt and get launched out the front door.
Yeah, that's a little known trivia fact for Fresh Prince fans that Jazz was wearing the same shirt every time he got thrown out of the house. Santa Dave is going to give a gift to Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to gift him, a brand new trophy room. Because he's going to need some room for his MVP trophy he gets this year, his Super Bowl trophy he gets this year, his Super Bowl MVP trophy he gets this year, Offensive Player of the Year, blah, 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 blah.
It better be an expandable room, like with a removable wall.
That dude. I mean, we made fun of the Patrick Mahomes things a couple of weeks ago. They were talking about him inventing everything, but the dude is just flat out incredible. And I remember some Chiefs fans that I know personally just ticked off that they drafted him. Sure. He's too much like Favre, too much of a gunslinger, and look what the dude is just unreal. I mean, I don't see anybody really being able to stop the Chiefs in the playoffs other than if it's the Chiefs themselves. If he happens to have a bad game, which I think he's had 2 his entire career. So,
right.
But yeah, he's going to get a trophy room, and yeah, we'll go ahead and make it expandable. Because the dude's going to get lots and lots of trophies and championships and awards, for the next how many ever years he decides to play.
Yeah, he's just getting started. Remember, and what is this, year 4? I mean, come on, man. It's ridiculous, man.
It is. It's absolutely incredible the things that he can do.
Barring injury, we've got at least 10 more years of him. At least.
Oh, yeah.
And if he turns into Tom Brady, we got 20 more years of this guy. My last one. Now, this dude isn't even deserving of the Jazz treatment. He's not even deserving of that. He that's how bad this dude is. We mentioned bad draft picks. This guy may even be worse than Jared Davis, although not a first-round pick. He's so bad, it needs to be worse than Jazz. Have you seen the movie that came out 20 years ago or so with of Saturday Night Live Weekend Update fame, Norm Macdonald, the movie Dirty Work? Are you familiar with the works of Norm Macdonald?
A little bit. I'm aware.
He tends to get thrown out of numerous buildings himself in that movie, and there is one where he is launched into a dumpster. Jelani Tavai, you get the Dirty Work dumpster treatment, my friend. Merry Christmas. Here's a giant green dumpster with your name on it. And once again, he could probably take numerous of his friends along with him. The depth is the thing.
What depth?
That's the thing. I mean, you got 8 starters, then you lose Stafford today. 8 starters out. And the dudes backing them up are not NFL players. They're not.
Shoot, some of them aren't even XFL players.
They might not be. Thanks, Bob. I think Bob is already in that dumpster that Jelani just friggin' got shot into.
It's with Oscar living out of a trash can.
Last thing, bro, before we go here, since it's only Saturday and they've already played 3 NFL games. Sunday, obviously, as we said, only 2 more games left in the season. What are you looking forward to the most here? What's the most interesting storyline in the NFL going into week 17? 16, I should say.
Well, being that I have personal interest, I'm really curious to see what we get from the Steelers this week after losing to Cincinnati last Monday night. That was just hard to watch. Not an easy task going against the Colts. I forget where their defense is. I want to say top 5, and the offense is already struggling really bad in Pittsburgh. So really curious to see if they can get back on track and get a decent win, to kind of build up some momentum in the playoffs. Because if they lose tomorrow, that means they play the Browns in week 17 for the AFC North title. It's absolutely astounding to have to say that the Browns have a chance to win that division in week 17. I mean, coming into the season, it was Baltimore. I mean,
right.
And they dropped down all the way to 3rd in that division. So, and I'd be curious to see, like, if Cincinnati would have been a little more competitive as it was if Burrow would have played, because he was playing quite well.
It should be interesting. It always is. As for the Browns, man, I mean, I am surprised, but I'm not. Because this is what everybody thought they would be last year. They thought this was what was coming. They switched the head coach. They get a good offensive mind in there, and now we're actually seeing it. I don't know if it matters or not, but Odell Beckham Jr. is not there. That could be addition by subtraction.
Yep.
Baker's not making a ton of mistakes. He looked awesome in that game. They lost the other day, man. He was nutting up and going out there and making throws when they were down 14. And I mean, he was the dude that you draft number one. So they are who we thought they would be, to quote a guy I know, last year, and they're finally doing it. So we knew that'd be a good division, though, man. I mean, you knew that would be a heck of a division.
Oh yeah, and I would say that Stefanski will probably end up as coach of the year.
You would think, he's right there. He's on the short list anyway. He's got to be. He's definitely got to be. Patricia right behind him. So that's it. That's our show for today. We got one more coming during the old regular season that we can talk about the Lions getting creamed probably one more time. Davey, appreciate it as always, and we'll do it again next Sunday.
All right, sounds good. Hey, and everybody have a happy New Year, a safe New Year, and enjoy your time with your family if you get to do that. And also, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas.
Happy Chanukah. I have no idea what Chanukah is, but happy Chanukah because they said so.